The world has caught China in lie after lie after lie, from hiding the virus to even trying to blame America as being the source. So what do we do to find them and hold them accountable? Well, Lieutenant Colonel James Carafano joins me now, an expert in national security and foreign policy challenges with the Heritage Foundation. Colonel, it's good to have you back on the program. I hope that you and yours are well and safe and healthy tonight.
Well, so kind of you to ask. We're great. And thanks for having me on the show. We just love your show. You are the awesomest. Is that a word, awesomest?
I guess it could be a word, although I'm sure that at least a third of the audience would say, no, he's not. He's a knucklehead and he doesn't listen. No, I try to listen very carefully, but I'm really frustrated by this. I want China to pay. I want them to pay in dollars, and we've heard some suggestions about treasury bills that we hold. I mean, the Chinese own them, but they're not actually physically in China. They're here in the United States, and we've had at least one suggestion legally how we might say hold China accountable financially. I'd also like to see a lot of Americans buy non-Chinese goods. Maybe I'm hoping too much to say all American made. People talk about it all the time without recognizing the economic implications of it, how tough it would be if every family bought all of their consumer goods made in America. It'd be nice, but the fact is that the prices and the cost of all that is beyond the reach of an awful lot of average Americans. So what do we do to hold them responsible for knowing about it, holding the information back from their own population, which caused a greater spread because of the Lunar New Year and a bunch of other events, and then holding back and lying about the information to the United States through the World Health Organization about what was really going on?
Yeah, first of all, I think that's a great place to start because we ought to make a clean line between what we know for a fact we can hold China accountable for and what at this point is conjecture and circumstantial evidence. So there's a big debate, a lot of theories about what the origins of what China's responsibility are for that. We don't have a good answer for that, so we'll have to table that for now. But you brought up 2 points, which I think are really absolutely the right place to start. What do we know that's factual? And one thing we know that's factual is China let several million people leave the country, knowing that many of them could be infected and that the disease was highly contagious. That was unconscionable. That literally triggered the global pandemic. That's just not even up for discussion. The other thing that we factually know China did is they were not forthcoming for several weeks about many of the key aspects of the disease, how it was communicated, how communicable it was, what else. That really limited the ability of other countries to prepare for the disease before they had their outbreak. Matter of fact, the only reason why the United States did as well as we did is because it was not because we saw how the disease performed and was being treated and responded to in places like South Korea, Italy, and Spain, all of which were terribly hard hit, before we even knew how to respond. That was several weeks. So literally, no matter how you slice it, China is responsible for the global pandemic. And this is not an act of omission, not an act of mistake. They deliberately implemented these policies. So that's a fact.
Yep.
Now, let's start with the long laundry list of things that, and there is. We have a long laundry list of practical things that we can do. And I'm going to start with the obvious economic ones. And these are not complicated. This is not rocket science. The number one thing is transparency. China has demonstrated that they're feckless, that they've done initial things. This is just the tip of the iceberg. This isn't, somebody in China had a bad day. This is a pattern of behavior that's been there for years. And either because people didn't want to know or they didn't want to look or they were making money, people really refused to look and see what China was doing. And I think the number one thing that we can do, the United States, the government, NGOs, governments around the world, is we can bring transparency to Chinese behavior. And then people can make their own decisions about
Can we really,
Yes,
if they're that pathological, is it possible to change somebody's behavior that much? Like, the girlfriend that takes on the lying boyfriend and says, but I know I can change him.
No, not change their behavior, change our behavior. Take away the reason people say, well, we can do business with the Chinese, they're fine. No, they're not. They have slave labor camps. They hold millions of people in captivity. They have lied about the pandemic. They lie, cheat, and steal their way up the food chain. And you're going to do business with them? I think that's going to – I'll give you an example of where we've seen this make a difference. Great Britain was prepared to allow Huawei, the Chinese telecom company, to buy into 30% of their 5G telecom infrastructure.
Good example.
They're probably going to change that decision. and pull the rug out from under the Chinese, all because the people of UK looked them in the eye and say, look at what China did to us, and you're going to do business with these people? You're going to allow them to build our telecom infrastructure? So I think that's one example of how transparency could really be a big deal. The other one is that to me, this is really the most important. And it really gets to the point you say, well, people just want to buy American stuff. I think one of the things we have to do is take a hard look at ourselves and ask, rather than saying why you can't buy something from China, explain to people why they can't make it in the United States. So, I think this administration has done a great job cutting red tape, and, tax relief, but we need to ask ourselves at the federal, state, and local level, why can't employers get the employees? Why can't they start a business faster? Why do people have to go overseas to do business? I think we need to take a hard look at ourselves, give people reasons why this is the best place to do business. I think that's an important part.
Do you know where I think? Go ahead. No, give me that last example.
No, I think the other one is, we're not going to make everything in the United States, and then we don't necessarily need to. But we don't need to buy toilet paper from China. That's not like it's rocket science. There are a lot of partners around the world. Absolutely. There are a lot of places around the world where people that we can do business with, and we ought to be asking ourselves, why are we doing risky business with the Chinese who lie, cheat, and steal and rob from us? Why don't we do business with other people? If you took together the production capacity of Mexico, India, Indonesia, Bangladesh, and Vietnam, that is a bigger manufacturing trading base than China. Do business with them. Those countries like us. So I think those are the kinds of things that, we don't need, magical, let's take the T-bills away or something. Let's just be reasonable about do business with your friends and do business with honest people. That's a good start.
I love that idea because I got to tell you, Colonel, I had somebody on Twitter say something about buying American. I said, look, I love to buy American. I said, in the fall and winter, I like wearing a flannel shirt. I've got a bunch of them that I wear out in the yard that I bought at Walmart. They're $12 a piece. I have 2 of them that I bought from a company called Filson. They're made in America. They're made in Seattle, Washington. You know what they cost? $100 a pop. And I said,
wow.
When you see, a flannel shirt for $100 and a flannel shirt for $12, and you say, which one are we going to see 1 million sold, and which one are we going to see 10,000 sold? There's a reason I only have 2 of them. They were actually gifts to me, and I love them.
Well,
they're great shirts, but holy cow.
Well, I'll tell you, Bangladesh, Vietnam, India, and Indonesia, they can make you a $10 shirt.
And Mexico could too, and I'll bet as the Middle East starts to lose its oil influence on the rest of the world, maybe they should look at the next manufacturing base the same way Taiwan once was there, and South Korea, and China, and even Vietnam. Colonel, thanks so very much.